Welcome to this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice. What we'll be doing today is going through a series of practices that settle and center us, then get us focused, then expand our focus to environmental awareness. And when we have real open environmental awareness, we realize the interdependence of all living beings, and that gives rise to compassion, a wish that all beings be free from suffering, and caring kindness, which is a wish that all beings have contentment and well-being. So, I wanted to open today with a little bit of discussion of what we're working with. When we work with our practice, we're working with our bodies, which include all of our 5 sense perceptions. And when we're working with our bodies and our posture, the physical sensation is something that's very prominent. When we do our environmental practice with eyes wide open, then we have all the other perceptions, sight, sound, and it includes smell and taste, which in most situations when we're just sitting and meditating, if we have something like incense burning or something else in the environment, and smell is involved, usually not much in the way of taste involved in that situation. But when we do our meditation in action, we're involved with taste when we're having a meal. We're involved in smell as we move through different environments. And pretty much always sight, sound, and bodily sensations. In the meditation tradition, the perception of thoughts is regarded as a 6th sense perception, something that we do perceive our thoughts. And so that's something else that comes up. And what we discover is that the mind really only has one of these perceptions in the foreground at any one moment. All the others go to the background. The metaphor is like a monkey in a room with 6 windows, and the monkey's jumping from window to window, but it's only looking out one window at a time. Light is still coming through the other windows, so there's background of all the sense perceptions, but one predominates, which means when we're caught up in thoughts, all of our other sense perceptions go to the background. That's why we can be in a daydream and suddenly wake up and realize, oh, wow, I didn't even realize I was in this room for a few moments. It's why we can get distracted when we're driving a car. Sometimes we can be in a conversation or listening to someone, all too often talking on the phone, and our visual and sense perceptions working enough in the background that we don't get into an accident or crash the car, hopefully. But quite often we might miss our exit because we weren't looking for it. And instead we were engaged in another sense perception. Now, you're looking at your device and looking at me on the screen. What's actually happening is that your primary sense perception is fluctuating back and forth very quickly. Visual, auditory, visual, auditory, visual, auditory. So fast that it seems like you're both looking and listening at the same time, but it's actually fluctuating that fast. Traditionally, they say 60 times per second is what meditators in the past regarded as the how fast the sense perceptions change. And interestingly, that includes our thoughts, that we can have 60 thoughts a second. Now you might say, well, that's really not possible. But if you've ever been in an accident where time seems to slow down, you can remember how many thoughts you had during that less than a second as things were about to engage. So it's just an interesting aspect of things. Having awareness of that is part of what we're going to do in our environmental practice of noticing how our mind moves. And when we're doing our focusing practice, noticing how the mind moves away from our object of attention that we chose to something else, and then spontaneously wakes up. It's like the daydream pops. And as soon as the daydream ends, as soon as our distraction ends, we're already back. Very often people talk about coming back to the present moment or clearing the mind. But actually, as soon as the daydream pops, as soon as there's a gap in our distraction, mind is clear and we're already present. That's the really good news. That's our default mode. Our default mode is being present and clear. Everything else covers that up. So rather than having to find it, we don't have to find something that's never been lost. Rather than having to find it, all we have to do is gently clear the distractions, let them subside. And as we move our habit of engaging in the distractions versus simply being present, we can extend that period of presence a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer. So that's really the objective that we're looking towards. It's a goalless goal because we're simply trying to spend the time with something that we already are. So it's not a goal that we don't have. Okay, so let's begin. And what's helpful is having a stable base from which to explore our awareness. When we lie down, there's a tendency to fall asleep. Standing up, there's a tendency to move. So when we're doing this practice, it's good to be sitting on a stable seat. As we go through our day, we want to take this mindfulness and awareness practice and extend it to meditation in action. But for now, we have to train ourselves. So first we train it, and then we can trust it. And when you take that seat, if you're in a chair, your feet can be flat on the floor so that your lower legs are perpendicular to the floor, feet about hip width apart. If your legs are long, you can cross your legs right there at the ankles and let your knees spread wider so that your knees are lower than your hips. It takes the pressure off of your upper legs and lower back. You want to feel like your sit bones are even, the weight is evenly distributed on your sit bones, so you're not tilted left or right, not forward or back. The upper torso is upright but not rigid. And you can experiment with this a little bit. It's helpful to have your sternum, the midpoint of your sternum, imagine or feel like it's moves slightly up and forward. Just a quarter of an inch, 1 centimeter, up and forward. And what that does is it opens your chest, your shoulders come back in line with your ears naturally. You might even feel a tiny bit of pinching together of your shoulder blades, just not extreme, but a little bit more than your usual relaxed state. Because in our modern times, we're so much forward our shoulders curl and get rounded over our computers. So by raising our sternum, it moves everything up and back. And it's an uplifted quality that then and so it actually includes a feeling of dignity and self-worth, which is very helpful. When that lifts up, rather than your chin lifting up, leave the back of your head straight up and down, as if there's a line from the top of the back of your head all the way down to your tailbone. And then your chin tucks in naturally. I'm going to turn my device so you can see that a little bit. And when we do the environmental awareness practice, you're going to want to have an open field of vision. So you'll want your device to be to the side so that you can see out past it or above it. Your upper arms hang straight down from your shoulders, again perpendicular to the ground. And leaving your elbows where they are, you can swivel your hands up so that your forearms go along your thighs, with each hand palm down on each thigh respectively. Your jaw is relaxed but not slack open, so your lips are either very lightly touching or slightly parted. We'll be breathing in through our nose and feel like the breath goes up and then down the back of our body, filling our lungs from the bottom up. It'll even feel like you're filling your whole torso from the bottom up. And then as you breathe out, it's okay if some of the breath comes out your mouth as well as your nose. Your tongue can just rest naturally, or if it's comfortable, you can let it float up and have the tip of your tongue rest gently against your upper palate just behind your front teeth. It's said in the yogic tradition that the chin tucked in a little bit creates a straight line up and down that doesn't encourage a lot of scattered thoughts. And the tongue touching the upper palate gently slows the flow of saliva. People have asked, is it okay to swallow? Of course, yes, it's okay to swallow. And if you're uncomfortable, it's okay to move. But rather than making it entertainment, if it's a sharp pain, move right away. If there's a little itch or slight discomfort, just notice, is it my posture that needs adjusting? If so, say, think to yourself, now adjust my posture, and make that movement. If it's an itch that you need to scratch, stay with it a moment to see if it goes away. And if not, just say scratching to yourself so that you set the intention rather than it's a knee-jerk reaction. Okay, now you can let your eyes gently close. We're going to tune into our bodily sensation and get very settled and centered. As you breathe out, really let your weight sink down into the cushion. Breathe out, sink down. The cushion or seat that you're on. Really let your sit bones sink down. And be aware of your whole body as a three-dimensional being. Your feet, calves, thighs have thickness to them. Your torso has thickness. We see ourselves mainly in a mirror or pictures, and those are two-dimensional. Feel the thickness front to back of your torso as well as side to side. As you breathe in, you can feel it filling. Feel your shoulders, neck and head, how your neck and head balance on your shoulders and torso. Fully inhabit your body. We spend so much time in our thoughts as if we're just a little person inside our head. Drop your awareness into your body. Let your face muscles soften. Neck and shoulders, let your shoulders just hang. Use a little tension to keep your sternum, your breastbone raised a little bit. Let any clenching of your deep belly or pelvic region soften, let go. Forearms and hands relaxed. Let your awareness drift down and rest deep in the core of your torso. A couple of inches below your navel, just in front of your spine. Not the front of your belly, but inside your deep belly. As the breath goes in and out, it will feel like that's expanding and contracting gently. And that's your diaphragm pushing down and pulling up. But it feels like your whole torso is filling as you breathe in, emptying as you breathe out. Just be with that gentle ebb and flow. Like gentle water on the lake or the ocean's edge, coming up and flowing back down and in. Be an observer of your breathing rather than controlling it. Let your body breathe itself. I promise it will do so without you being involved. Notice if it's a deep or shallow breath, long or short breath. As an observer. Particularly how that feels deep in the core of your torso. Now gently open your eyes about halfway. So that you're aware of your body sitting in space. Your gaze is just a couple of feet in front of you. But rather than looking at something, soften it, slightly blurred. Just a sense of awareness, of posture, of your body sitting in the space. Filling and emptying as the breath comes in and out. That'll be the focus of our attention for the next few minutes. And the mind does tend to wander. So without judging, when you realize you've gone off into a daydream, a series of thoughts, as soon as you realize that, you're already back. Just smile. You can punctuate it by saying that was wandering or elsewhere. And just connect with your posture, the space you're sitting in, and the feeling of filling and emptying with the breath. We'll do that for a few minutes. If you've gotten drowsy and your eyes closed, your posture may have slumped a bit. Just reinvigorate your posture, raise your breastbone, and open your eyes all the way. Feel the whole path of the breath coming in, going deep inside you, and coming out. As the gong fades, you can move a little bit, refresh yourself. And when you're ready, reestablish your posture. We'll be looking out straight ahead so you can move your device a bit to have a clear field of vision. Take your seat, feel your sit bones, legs in the right position. Again, arms hanging straight down, your upper arms and your forearms along your thighs, palm down on each thigh. Breastbone slightly raised. And now let your vision, your eyes be fully open and your vision natural, which will be slightly below the horizon. And soften your gaze. Open your peripheral vision. Open up to your full field of vision, side to side, above and below. Without moving your eyes, your awareness, let your awareness explore that full field of vision. As if you're looking at a landscape. See the colors, shapes, and shades of light and dark. You can use your breath to open you further. As the breath goes out, it expands and dissolves into the atmosphere. With each out breath, feel like your awareness opens more and more and more. Open to your full experience. The colors, shapes, and shades of light and dark that you're seeing. The sounds, high and low pitched, loud and soft, near and far. Open up your hearing in that way. Breathe out, open further. Breathe out, open further. Open to all the sensations in your body. how the air feels cool and dry coming in your nostrils, warm and moist going out. Your rib cage moving, your deep belly. The cloth or skin under your hands. The air on the back of your hands and your face. You might even feel your pulse, your heartbeat, in your fingertips or your chest, your neck. Notice if there's a particular smell in the room, a particular taste in your mouth. And again, as an observer, notice how your mind moves from sense perception to sense perception. Without trying to control it, just notice. We'll do that for a couple of minutes, just noticing how your mind moves among your sense perceptions. And now, as we talked about, the sixth sense perception, mental perception. Watch for the next thought that appears. Notice how thoughts arise in your mind. Are they happening in a particular place? How long do they last? Is there space between thoughts? Just watch. And now again, as each breath goes out, open your awareness to any sense perception, including a thought. Let your mind rest on that for as long as it will, and notice how the mind moves from one sense perception to another, including a thought. We'll do that for a couple more minutes. And as the gong fades, imagine that your awareness with each out-breath expands beyond the area that you can see, all the way out to the horizon, outside your room, all the way out to the sky. Within that vast open awareness, contemplate all living beings under the same sky, connected to the same earth, the earth or the oceans, the same atmosphere, land, water, air. We all share that. And as living beings, we all share the wish to be free from suffering and to have contentment and well-being. So you can leave your eyes open or close them as you prefer. But just imagine that as you breathe in, you could take away from all beings at least some of their suffering, physical and mental pain. Like extracting infection or poison from a wound. As you breathe in, you're freeing beings of that pain. You can think of an individual, several, a group, a country. Whatever helps you focus on the wish to free them from their pain. And as you breathe out, imagine that you can fill them with that feeling of relief and contentment and well-being, replacing the pain. It's like a cycle of cleansing and refreshing. Cleanse them of their suffering, refresh them with well-being, health, and happiness. And you may notice that as you breathe in and feel like you're freeing them from suffering, relieving them of their pain, it makes you feel good. And then you send out that good feeling to them, and it lessens your own suffering. Less concern with yourself and more thinking of others lessens your own suffering and brings you more happiness. And as the gong fades, let go of that contemplation of whatever you were imagining and recenter yourself. Feel your body, your posture, eyes gazing down the space that you're sitting in. Feel your body breathe. And it's traditional to conclude a session with the further aspiration that everything that we've done will help us to be able to benefit others throughout the day, throughout our lives. So you can repeat after me or put in your own words. May the practice we have just done be of even more benefit to others than to ourselves. And that's real generosity. So thank you for your kind attention at this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice.